So today I have a topic about PvP and Season of Discovery. In my opinion, it needs fixing. But why would you fix it? Simple for me. It's fun. It's fun for a lot of players. I enjoy it. It adds overall immersion to the game. I believe we need a PvP community thriving in the background while PvE stays at the game's main attraction for most players. Whatever. So I have a few suggestions onto rebuilding the community, fixing PvP Gears 1, independence from PvE, vice versa, professions, PvP quests, rated battlegrounds. So I'll get into all these points. But for me, most important is the guilds, the discords that come out from it. In phase one, we had PvP guilds, a booming Living Flame PvP Discord. We ran Warsong Gulch, Ashenvale groups, and so on. The rewards were minimal. At the time, we only had the tabard to look forward to, but there was a real carrot on the stick for side PvP. It was the future, in my opinion. In MMO, it's important to have interactions, build camaraderies. It was alive, and then phase two hit, and the pre-mades were dead. Alright. Blood Moon's okay in my opinion, but it wasn't enough. Slowly, the PvP guilds, Discord, the chats, everything just died out. So I guess I'll concentrate on Nomergon.
Usurpers! Nomergon is mine!
Yeah, not really for me, but let's see what Blizzard would do next phase, is what I thought. Phase 3 comes out, new Blood Moon rewards, some good PvP gear. It was enough to get me back into it, but not enough to rebuild a PvP nation or a return of PvP guilds. So I'm gonna throw some ideas out there on these other points I just spoke of. Alright, let's begin with the PvP gear. We need to reduce its output so PvE players don't have to, keyword have to, chase PvP rewards and vice versa. Also, we need to increase survivability, mobility, and the control of the PvP gear. So in phase 4, more core releases. The plan at the moment is to have rank 10 as a max rank. Well, what if we could release rank 14, but not as we know it today? There's actually two different sets of rank 14 gear, and I'll be using the High Warlord's Axe for an example. So here's the tier 1 High Warlord Axe weapon versus the tier 2.5. Let's concentrate on the original High Warlord weapons, and let's compare it to Molten Core weapons. As we can see here, it's on par unless we look at Ragnaros loot. Ragnaros weapons are better than rank 14 weapons. Now, I'll be okay with that if we fix a couple things here, alright? One thing the Blood Moon got right is its weapon procs. So let's take this rank 14 weapon and change some stats around here. Now these are some suggestions. My first one being is increasing stamina all around, reducing strength, agility, attack power, spell power. I'm not going to get into the details how much spell damage and healing we need to reduce. It's up to the devs. I'll only focus on strength versus stamina for right now. Stamina is worth 10 health. Health in SOD means very, very little, versus the damage scaling that we're getting. So treat stamina, let's say 1 point. Strength, let's give it 2 points. So if we wanted to take 5 strength away from this weapon, and then we would give it 10 stam. How about that? Now as the crit, we could keep it, turn it into a Blood Moon effect or a brand new stat. Reduce damage taken stat. Shoot me some suggestions. I don't know. But also give us a druid and shaman version of rank 14 weapons with some intellect and whatever added to it. Now let's get into the PvP sets here. I'll focus on the warrior and shaman sets, tier 1 and tier 2.5. You can see them here, the original versus upgraded PvP sets. So I'm going into this as ranking gear epics should be on par with rating gear epics, but PvP oriented. Let's talk stats. We need to all around increase stam, increase armor, reduce output. Now I don't know how much armor percentage increase we would need. That's up to Blizz, but it's needed. Now let's look at the warrior helm. Stam is looking nice. Could add 10 more. Reduce strength by 5. Take away the agility. We don't need much hit in PvP, so how about give it a crit? And if we want, give it a PvP stat. Uh, zero point 0.5 reduced damage. 1% reduced damage taken. Let's look at the set bonus. 20 stam. That's good. Gives us survivability. Intercept. Good. That's mobility. That's control. Then we have 40 attack power. Now being a melee myself is not an easy life. We have so if you took away the 40 attack power and added 35 spell resistance, maybe more, that will force me as a shaman and casters, which are blowing people up, to use more PvP oriented items instead of high spell power trinkets or rings. So let's look at rune of petrification, I think it's called. Yeah. What if at Exalted War Song Vulture or through PvP ranking we could get a level 60 version of this? Moving on, let's look at the Shaman bonus. It's PvP. We want survivability, mobility, control. I have an issue with the 2% shock spell bonus to crit. How about reduce cast time to Ghost Wolf by 1 second, making it instant cast, which gives me mobility. Change the stats similar to warriors, and so on and so forth. PvP set gloves should give us control. Maybe if not, survivability. Uh, Boots. I think PvP boots should always increase mobility. Not just a light, like a slight run speed increase. Maybe more than a slight increase to running, or maybe a class specific one that increases mobility. Warriors charge for longer or a bigger range, something like that. Anyways, PvP rewards from reputation I think needs to be fixed. Let's see. You can look at a couple over here, and if you don't want to change them, give us new ones with more stam. So before we should not make these overly desirable. Before I move on, let's not make these overly desirable. Like, let me give you an example. I can shaman tank. Well, what if I'm a shaman tank for a guild, and I'm looking at these items? I'm like, oh, well, I want this. Uh, Here are a suggestion. Let's look at shamans. I don't know, way of earth. All right, we need to reduce chance to be crit, making me as a shaman want defense rating and not making defense just a dead stat. All right, let's move forward. I'm not gonna get into every class. I think I made my point. All right, next up, rated battlegrounds. Pre-mades are gone for good. So now that we have rank 14 gear, a lot of players would say, "Hey, I'm done with PvP. I reached end game, my end goal." Let me ask you this: if someone clears Molten Core and gets full best in slot, are most people done? Nah, they're still helping their raid, their guild gear up for Blackwing Lair. The carrot on a stick for the future. So, what if new battlegrounds were added with rated battlegrounds and announce that rated battlegrounds are coming out, and with it you're gonna get your tier 2 PvP sets upgraded. This will either be 15 or 20 mans. I don't know. Aldrich Valley, they would have to do something different to it to make it a rated battleground that's completely separate from the original. Now, for me, the important part, if they were to announce something like this, like the PvP scene will explode. All right, it's just gonna happen. Purchasing the new gear should be different, not just gold. What if we could turn PvP badges into medals? 20 badges for one medal, and you will need those to purchase the new PvP gear along with the old item. It would probably look something like this. You will need the rating, the medals, the tier 1 weapons to trade into tier 2. I'm not. I'm sure the devs will figure something better out. Just throwing ideas out there. Maybe I'll come back to this later. My next point: to build a PvP nation, PvP independence. Before rated battlegrounds even come out, still during Phase 4 Ragnaros. Imagine PvP specific crafting patterns. A couple of examples. Let's look at the weapon chain. I use it. Most people use this. Warriors, paladins, shamans want it. What if rank 11, just throwing random numbers out there, at rank 11 a blacksmith could purchase a new weapon chain that adds plus stam, plus strength to it. Now raiders are still going to always want crusader enchants over this, but I won't. Another example, grenades. Here's a thorium grenade. What if again at rank 11 or whatever, an engineer could learn a new grenade similar but does less damage, and it has a half a second longer stun time or a reduced cast time. I won't go there. I'm not going to talk about every profession, but the important part about all this is you're giving us something, and you're things that are not forcing raiders to chase these items either. Worst comes to worst, make these items unable to be used in PvE raids. And of course, every new rated battleground phase, we get more patterns. Alright, quests, dailies, weeklies, PvP oriented quests that are mainly completed in battlegrounds. In my opinion, keep PvP quests mostly in battlegrounds with a few open world ones. A suggestion is, I don't know, loot 20 insignias from the opposing faction as a daily for a little bit of gold. We need more ways to make gold in PvP for sure. How about an open world weekly? Kill a specific enemy faction leader that week, giving us gold, maybe a bag with materials. For like professions, I don't know. Chance at a Nexus crystal if we need them for PvP and chance. I'm just pitching ideas. Keep PvPers from having to go to raids. Keywords having to. Alright, let's jump to one of the final phases. Let's say Naxxramas, our tier 3 PvP gear comes with it. Nax has a legendary. Could we give one to PvP, a legendary PvP weapon? In the final phase, maybe a secret battleground rating beyond previous phases. Very few players can achieve it. Not all players would be able to even complete the quests that you get after achieving the rating. You're going to involve grinding materials, massive raids on opposing faction cities, defeating all the faction leaders, beyond. Just use your imagination. That's. I could keep going on, but I'm gonna leave it right here. You guys tell me in the comments, like, what are your thoughts? And if you're still watching, man, like, subscribe, and let's rebuild the PvP nation over here in Season of Discovery.